Hello, my name is Katerina and I'm a 2017 graduate from the University of Oxford and I hold a first class degree in German literature and language. In answer to the first question about what I think are the three most important qualities in a teacher, the first I would say is clarity. I think it's incredibly important that one speaks with conviction and in an articulate manner, but also very clearly to pupils so they understand exactly what is being explained to them, but also what is being requested and asked of them. I always had that as a student myself. I thought that clarity from teachers was so helpful, and I seek to instill that as a teacher now myself and a long term tutor. Secondly, I think that patience is an absolutely crucial quality in teaching students. I have had students and pupils of varying capabilities, and it's very important to understand that each is going to have their own way of learning. They're each with a different style of understanding and also a different pace of taking in information and understanding different concepts. Again, this was something that I found so beneficial from some of my best teachers, that they were willing to work at my pace and really understand my strengths and areas in which I needed improvement. Being calm, patient is so beneficial to a student and something that I really seek to incorporate into my own lessons with pupils who I've tutored. And finally, I think that encouragement is an incredibly important quality to have as a teacher. Again, the teachers who encouraged me the most, even at times where I lacked the confidence and really was ravished by self doubt, those teachers are the ones that I remain friends with to this day in some cases, and the ones that really carried me through and enabled me to get some of my best marks. I think a lot of learning sometimes is not about inability, but actually not trusting in yourself and not having enough confidence sometimes. So, just a consistent encouragement of pupils is again something I always seek to bring to my lessons. With regards to what are my best experiences and biggest challenges, starting with the former, I think some of my best experiences have, of course, been when students come back to me and are able to tell me about the wonderful marks they've achieved or wonderful reports from schools that have been written about them. But more than that, it's not just about the grades and the marks, it's also in a lesson when a student finally gets a concept that we're really struggling with and you see that moment of enlightenment on their face. I think it's so powerful, and I take great joy in having that feeling that I can help them grasp something that they were struggling with that was perhaps causing them a lot of pain emotionally, that they felt they couldn't get a grip of the concept or understanding a particular linguistic technique or passage from a literary text, and that gives me huge joy. I also have had pupils who've come to me with very little interest in, for example, the German language, which I have most experience in teaching, and they leave my lessons or they leave their time with me with a completely different understanding of the language and appreciation for it, which is really heartwarming to be able to share my passion for the German language and the literary canon with others. So that moment of enlightenment and enjoyment, I would say, are some of my best experiences, and where we can also just share the enjoyment of the subject. I think some of my biggest challenges have been with students and pupils who are less willing to engage and cooperate. That is, of course, always a struggle and a challenge, but one that I like to take on. And I've always found ways to somehow engage them, whether that be through different learning exercises, maybe incorporating more things like film and music where possible, rather than just sort of keeping it strictly so academic. And I enjoy taking that on as a challenge, and I enjoy the idea of helping a student and a pupil move away from that perhaps fear or lack of interest towards a really positive experience. I initially got into tutoring with regards to the last question and teaching after I graduated and I was looking for work, and it's something that I've continued alongside for full-time work since 2017 actually, because I enjoy it so much. And over the last 3 years I've worked as an associate, and then I was recently promoted in March to associate manager. I've been working for a top tier risk consultancy and the industry leader in business intelligence and investigations Kroll in London. And as I said, I've been tutoring and teaching ever since I graduated, and continued alongside full-time work because I enjoyed it so much. I loved continuing to use my degree in some way, to use my knowledge of the language and literature, and I so enjoy talking about literature and anything to do with the arts still. So it's something that I desperately wanted to keep up despite working full time. I have actually, last month I handed in my notice at my previous employer, and I'm in a position where I am taking on more tutoring and teaching work, whilst I pursue different avenues of interest and while I send off job applications. But tutoring and teaching is something that I would like to continue far into the future, despite when I take on my next full-time job.